Another reason they have those shooting tents things so like people can shoot up at a tent and be it's so they'll be safe and they'll have a sharps receptacle to put their needles in.
I was gonna say I don't. It's
Most of it is to cut down on the amount of used syringes in the street, Nick. Don't act like it's some bleeding heart, oh, pussy liberal thing. It's just to so
like
people will stop shooting dope on the sidewalk. Okay,
I
that is literally it.
I find it more alarming that Dr. Drew, who is a drug recovery person, doesn't seem to understand what this is actually about. Like,
He's a disgraced drug recovery person, though.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Like, because the whole thing is like the idea of like safe shoot up like places essentially make it so it's an easier problem to control.
Yeah, so there's no use syringes on the street, and also it cuts down the amount of people getting hep and AIDS from
Mm-hmm.
using the same needle
Yeah,
over and
yeah,
over
no,
again.
exactly. Like, like you are you hypothetically enabling these people to eventually kill themselves? Yes, but you are actually also reducing the numbers of ways that they will kill themselves. You're technically giving them a longer life to potentially change.
That's the reasoning behind it. It's not, oh, poor drug addict, yeah, let's do some heroin.
Now I
No,
am
like,
now my brain's like, what the fuck does their homeless charity do that this is what we're talking about right now?
yeah, does it just go like, here is some canned goods, stop being homeless, please? That's
Like,
probably all it is. Look, we are good people for doing this.
also like people dying in random places and on the street is not good for society. People who like die in their house, it's less of a it's less of a drag on society itself. Like you're only looking at this from one perspective. It,
And this is exactly what his dad would say about it too. So now we're
oh
seeing
yeah,
like now
no.
we're seeing the gene in him come out.
I mean, like also like he's like these are people talking. I don't know about Dr. Drew, but like Nick and Gene, I don't know if Nick's ever done drugs.
He probably hasn't because he's Gene's kid.
Like I don't think like
Because he has narcissism a little bit too. Case in point, he thought he could get away with blatant plagiarism and got very offended when everyone said that it's bad that he did that and made blacklisted him from the comic book industry.
and like it bothers me that Dr. Drew isn't more like read up on this. Like, because what Dr. Drew is saying is technically true, but like what Dr. Drew is referring to is specifically like from the perspective of a family member. And like these programs are not from that perspective. These programs are from like a societal control mechanism to like make this less of a problem. And like because like San Francisco used to be like, and it probably still is, I don't know if I haven't been there, but like it used to be a serious problem of like people like shooting up in like public restrooms and stuff. Like that's what
Yeah.
this cuts
Yeah,
down on.
there's a documentary about that, like specifically heroin addicts in San Francisco, and they're all like hanging out. I guess they had pay toilets that had like a
Mm-hmm.
timer, and they would just go in there and just shoot up for an hour. No
Mm-hmm.
one could tell them not to.
Yeah, yeah, no. And
And that
like
is not the cleanest environment to
and
be
like
doing intravenous drugs in.
and like that's why Starbucks started having rules against people using their bathrooms who weren't buying stuff. It's because people would go in there
Yeah,
and
that's
like
why you see that.
OD.
That's why like most places you see have like a code for the bathroom, and you can only get it if you buy something.
And like in this and like the other thing you're not taking into account is like the whole problem with fucking oh man, how am I forgetting the name of it? The stuff you have to give people like they're going to be professionals who have Narcan at these things
Yeah,
in case you get the fentanyl. That's the word I was trying to find. Fentanyl.
yeah.
Like this is depressingly stupid, and this is depressingly stupid and emotional. Like I said, what Dr. Drew is saying is technically right from like a family member perspective. Like you can't let someone continue to use drugs in your house like that if you want them to get better. But like that's not what these things are about. This is oh my god, Dr. Drew,
So very tone deaf.
do better. Do better,
Structures,
Dr.
right? They're
Drew.
going, here's an apartment. He goes, okay, well, then they're just going to die in that apartment.
Correct.
So it's like you're not. It's like the elephant in the
Do
room.
you understand what the difference is between dying in an apartment and dying in the fucking streets, Nick? Jesus Christ.
Is how are we continually enabling
Well, they built
serious addiction?
They built giant outdoor hospitals. Now they're going to build giant indoor hospitals without doctors and nurses.
Right,
and wonder why people are dying
without addiction specialists. Which is like, again, it's the elephant in the room. There, and it's like, no, it's the economy. It's hard to pay rent.
No,
like, I'm sympathetic to these issues because I think.
Do you think all homeless people are on drugs? A lot of homeless people are on drugs. Don't get me wrong, but do you think that all homeless people are homeless because they're on drugs? I don't know if the problem is that they're not speaking clearly about homelessness here because this is a very aimless podcast that they do. But like, Jesus Christ.
If that's your only problem, sure, this would help. Like giving someone a structure will help you get on your feet if bills are your problem. The problem is that what it looks like out there is that's not the issue. The issue is clearly.
Show me your data. That's not what it looks like out there. Like,
and also, Nick, you're rich. You don't fucking live in the shit anyway. So, like, what the fuck are you talking about? You fucking lace curtain prick.
Have you talked to every single homeless person, even in LA? Like, what the? Jesus Christ!
Clearly, brain disease and addiction. It's clearly the ones who are under the bridge are not just down on their luck with rent.
Some of them are. Some of them are, Nick. I assure you, some of them are. Look up some goddamn statistics on the homeless.
Correct.
It's not.
And what about homeless veterans who are there for mental illness, Nick? Like, there's a reason some of these people can't hold down a job. Just to paint everyone as fucking heroin addicts is ludicrous.
I mean, just take a look around Franklin Boulevard or Hollywood. So that's been the frustration. So I did interview these two moms about that.
You're just a rich person who's tired of seeing homeless people in LA.
Yeah, you just like, how come I can't ride my motor scooter through the park without seeing sad homeless people? It's like, dude, first of all, a lot of the homeless people in LA aren't from LA. They just hop a train out there because it's warm.
Yeah, no,
and then they leave when it's not warm, when the cold is no longer an issue. So,
that's part of it too. Yeah.
And also, you live in LA where there's a lot of high stakes, high risk jobs that can be gone in an instant. And LA, as you may not know because you were living off your daddy's royalties, you little fucking asshole, the rent is astronomically expensive and it's only going to increase.
Yeah, no, in fucking LA, it's not hard to imagine people are behind on their bills, Nick. Yeah. Jesus. You know, we were waiting for something this stupid to happen the whole entire time.
Yeah, Nick's a piece of shit. Holy crap.
This is incredible. So is Dr. Drew. Damn. Like, we went through all this blandness for this bullshit right here.
And how they had to like tough love their kids, and some of them are in programs, and one of them isn't. One of them refused help and kind of just relied on the state to kind of anyway. So it's like they think there's this.
I just have to give a big sigh to that.
Conservative. They think like I'm conservative when I say they think I'm like these bums should just get out. Like they think that's what I'm saying. No. You have to treat the actual source of the issue, which is meth, fentanyl, heroin,
schizoaffective.
Don't give them a nice place to die.
Yes,
stop them from dying.
Right. And by the way,
how do you think you do that, Nick? How do you think you stop them from dying? For many of them, the answer is Narcan. And if they're gonna die, and if they're gonna do their fentanyl in a fucking abandoned factory, there's not gonna be anyone there with Narcan. Jesus.
Then they can pay their own rent at some point.
I spent 35 years treating this illness. I know how to do it. It's not that hard.
Right.
It's pretty.
It's not that hard to get off heroin, Dr. Drew. It's not that hard to get off heroin. Did we both just hear that?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's pretty straightforward. We're just doing none of it.
I feel like nobody mentions the drugs when I see it on TV and stuff.
Oh,
they're just kind of like, it's, the economy is.
Because it's wrong to generalize all homeless people as drug addicts. You can't just say they're all drug addicts. That's wrong.
Gavin Newsom says the face of homelessness is the mother of three. I dare you to find that woman on the street. Find her.
I feel like I've seen that. I literally have you like I follow a guy on Facebook who literally works with the homeless here in our state, and he talks about all kind like he's very real about it. He'll talk about fucked up shit too, but yeah, no, there are definitely families who are homeless.
Yeah, there are. I've seen it before.
Yeah.
There are entire families that are living out of a car or in a stairwell because they got like something bad happened and they couldn't pay rent no more.
Like it doesn't.
Or maybe they have had hospital bills that they can't, and all the money went to debt because they had the hospital threatening them with collection. So they're like, "Fine, here, have some money." Oh fuck, now I can't pay rent. Give me money for rent. We can't. We just paid the hospital, and that's how it happens.
Yeah, no, like this is so. Show us some statistics, you guys. Everything you're referring to is, well, I didn't see any I didn't see any mothers of 3, so they must be lying. Did you see all the homeless people, Dr. Drew? Like all of them? My God.
She doesn't exist. It's you know what's on.
She doesn't exist. She doesn't. You can say that with 100% certainty that there are no single homeless mothers. Fuck you, man. What the fuck? If you're going to say something that fucked up, have some statistics. Prove that shit to me.
On the streets, the guy who's on meth with a machete. That's who's on the street.
Yeah, like, and that guy could be normal given the right program.
100%.
You could actually get that guy back.
Yeah.
Did he say a guy on the with a machete is who's real?
What?
And like, okay, no, we will go back for that. Like,
just treating this illness, I know how to do it. It's not that hard.
Right.
It's pretty straightforward. We're just doing none of it.
I feel like nobody mentions the drugs when I see it on TV and stuff.
Oh,
they're just kind of like, it's, the economy is rough.
Gavin Newsom says the face of homelessness is the mother of 3. I dare you to find that woman on the street. Find her. She doesn't exist. It's you know what's on the street. It's the guy who's on meth with a machete. That's who's on the street.
Yeah, like, and that guy could be normal given the right program.
Guy with a machete who's on the street.
I don't know, man. I've been to LA a couple times. I've seen homeless people with props, but none of them have been weapons. Because even the LAPD doesn't ignore homeless people that hard that they wouldn't try to have a conversation with a guy waving a machete.
Like, and then to say a guy who's out there waving a machete also, like, I hate to tell you this, but unless he's just using that machete to rob people, if he's just going around waving it around, he has deeper mental health than drug issues. Because like that's another thing is that like not all of some of these people just have mental health issues that prevent them from holding down a job. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are drug addicts. Oh my God.
100%.
You could actually get that guy back.
Yes, that's correct. The sad part, the schizophrenics, if you let them go long enough, you can't get them back. And so you're committing them to brain damage. Well,
you just admitted that there was a second group of people. Oh my God.
Well done, everybody.
Anyway,
so it just makes me crazy. And we had a really powerful group, I thought, in the room.
So anyway, these interviews, I just interviewed these 2 moms. I'm gonna try to get that footage out there somewhere. I don't know where to put it, but maybe we'll chat about it.
Yeah.
Did you say I just interviewed these 2 moms?
Yes, maybe he thinks he's like a soft white underbelly type documentarian now.
Well, no, but like literally, he just said, "I dare you to find those moms." And like he just said, and they're talking about interviewing homeless people, and he just said I interviewed 2 moms.
Yeah, like so it's like there's just so much dissonance in this room. They're all talking, but I don't think either of them are listening to each other because Dr. Drew has narcissism brought about from I was on the TV, and Nick Simmons has narcissism from being raised by Gene Simmons. So,
like what? Oh my God, this is going out on a bang.
I'll put it wherever I'll put it on my website, anywhere. I'll push that over because this is the part people don't get. Many of these people on the streets have resources, family.
I'm just hoping that somebody watches it. Like maybe
the resources in LA are not good because of the huge population. So yeah, they do, but
and like what do you mean they have?
All the time.
And what do you mean they have? Why would you reference family as a resource when you started this segment by saying that you should kick out your heroin relatives? Like what?
Just say don't listen to this. I'll say just say like, well, what I am saying is very smart. Like, I'm Nick Simmons. I tell it like it is, and I'm a plagiarist.
I'm I'm Dr. Drew, and obviously I know more about drugs than anyone.
Come if you're. I'm some kid from a thing, so hopefully that brings some eyeball, and then I shut up and she talks.
Yeah.
Let her say her piece.
Correct.
So,
anything else that we missed, that we didn't get into, that we should address? Any messages for your mom or dad that we missed?
Oh boy.
Or for the A&E executives that you're worried about?
I had a really, really interesting childhood. Yeah. Thanks. I feel fine. I feel good.
We thank you for your service. But
what?
I guess that was supposed to be a joke. Like, you got raised by a guy in KISS. You've probably seen some things. Thank you. I don't know.
I bafflingly stupid.
Thank you for being a fan of this.
KISS, who never did anything ever except fuck. So he probably hasn't seen a whole lot. I mean, maybe he's seen some dudes in wacky face paint and stuff like that.
Just Jesus Christ.
It's just like, it was fine, then it was boring, then it was the most frustrating thing ever. Like, just Jesus Christ. I'd rather watch Gene on Bill Maher again.
Yeah, no, like that. At least that was a fun roller coaster of what the fuck.
Yeah.
This is just, oh God, what are we even talking about? Oh, this is so fucking dull. We're just gonna have to keep making jokes about it. And then suddenly, like, okay, a little bit, okay. And then all of a sudden, what the fuck? Oh, man.
This whole world
yeah, very
here.
much so.
And,
all right.
thank you for coming
Settle
to visit
down.
us. We like having you. We like you being part of this community. So thank you.
I'll come back anytime you want me. I love you guys.
And
And I love the YMH fan community. You guys, they're the best.
They
people
are the
in
best.
the world. They're the greatest.
They are the best. I didn't realize that until right after I was on your mom's house the first couple times I was on it. And
oh, wait. I do know what. Okay, I have heard of that. That's Tom Segura's fucking podcast, right?
I guess.
Your mom's house? I have heard of that. Oh my God, they just spent the. Would it have killed you to say the whole title at the fucking beginning of the show?
Like I said, they expect that they're just getting the same people over and over again, so they figure there's no reason to.
Jesus.
And they're probably that dismissive. Just Google it casual and then move on. And it's like, no, fucker, I don't want to do 10 hours of research to find out why your show is so apparently so fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no, wow. Just, and now if showing those, if like reacting to those kind of clips is what Tom Segura does, like maybe I don't want to listen to that fucking podcast.
Yeah. If all he does is just watch shit like that and then make his wife uncomfortable, like it's not funny. It's boring.
Yeah, no, what the fuck?
And this woman ran up to me. I was like, oh, I'm so appreciative. I'm like, I didn't connect that's who would be a fan of your mom's house. It's kind of a very interesting
of all
world.
stripes. I mean, I read Garth's comments all the time. So it's I love seeing these people. They're out there. There are cool people out there online somewhere.
Maybe your dads know where the bodies are buried. Maybe he knows something.
Yeah, I mean, usually probably on one of his palatial estates, really. I mean, there's a lot of land. If you're on your own, no one's going to dig up your own yard, right? I've heard. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Let's complain about homeless people and then reference all the land my dad hoards.
There's another rumor to be had here. All right, Nick Simmons, everybody. Where is your social? You want people to go?
Yeah, so it's funny. People think I sit around doing nothing. I've actually been doing things that I've just been going by another name, so no one knows it's me. So I'm not ready to announce whatever that is yet, but if you just follow me, I'm on Instagram, Nick T. Simmons. So I'll eventually talk about it.
Well, wouldn't it be great if he ripped off another comic book?
Or ripped off like another show if he's doing, like, I imagine he's trying to get into more film type media. If he's going around interviewing people.
Hey, everybody, I made this video game that's totally not Resident Evil. Dude, it's totally Resident Evil.
No, it's not. I made it.
But I'm not quite ready yet. Yeah, I like my privacy lately. This is like the first thing I've done that's out there in a while. So I've been doing things under a pseudonym for a while. And I'll eventually.
I bet it is comic books because he needs a pseudonym to get published.
Yeah, because they get blacklisted. Like, this time I learned my lesson. I will be ripping off Archie comics from the 60s. No one will ever know.
Dude, it's clearly Archie.
Well, thanks for being Nick here. We appreciate it very much.
Thanks.
All right, we'll see you all next time. All conversations and information exchanged during participation in the Dr. Drew After Dark podcast or interaction on the drdrew.com website.
And fuck Dr. Drew. Jesus Christ. I did not see like all that condescension towards the homeless coming.
Yeah. It's like
that came out of nowhere. Oh my God. Fuck. Damn. I like, okay, we gotta sum this up in some way, but like, oh man, wow. Okay, so we never know what we're getting into with these Simmons interviews that we react to.
Now we know. Don't watch Extended Family of Gene. Just watch Gene. You know what you're getting with Gene.
At least with Gene, there's going to be some wild shit, and at least Gene's going to have stories that are interesting. And sometimes you'll get him, and sometimes you get to see Bill Maher be super disappointed.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a different layer of fun.
Why won't you laugh at my wife bad jokes, Gene? Why
can't we talk about the young people not liking things we like, Gene, like rock and roll? Like, I was so waiting for... I mean, I knew they weren't going to talk about with Nick, but I thought they would at least like have some funny, like, what's it like being raised by Gene Simmons?
Oh, he's a really good dad. And then they just move on.
Yeah, he's a really good dad when he wasn't on tour for most of my childhood, because I was born like right before their big comeback album came out, which is not that good.
I'm glad my family only found out about the infidelities when I was like 27.
Yeah, because I knew then. I knew.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
and we can rest assured knowing that Sophie, his sister, is a normal person, or at least if she's also a scumfuck, she has the common courtesy to keep her fucking mouth shut about it.
Yeah, no. My big takeaways is that Nick has mediocre taste in comedy.
He is out of touch with the world around him. There's a reason you never hear about him having friends.
He apparently is connected to an extremely condescending charity for homeless people that sounds like he may or may not be exploiting for content. And Dr. Drew is apparently connected to it too. And Dr. Drew's opinions on the homeless and drug addicts, surprisingly terrible.
Considering that was apparently what kind of doctor he was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all did. Like I said, man, his show is just. I mean, the first couple seasons were just kind of meh. It was, but when you got Steven Adler can't even hold his head up because he's that off his face on heroin, and you're just like innocent for camera, like, you need to get out, Steven. Stop doing heroin, Steven. It's like, okay, he's probably gonna OD in 10 seconds. Maybe shut off the camera, doctor.
Yeah, no, like seriously.
Fuck, dude.
Like, and Dr. Drew doesn't really seem to understand, like, okay, look, like I said, like, it's from like a family perspective, yes, you do need to be firm with people and be like, hey, here's the line. If you cross it, we can't help you.
Yeah.
And that is a thing, but like, that's a personal relationship issue. And then to act like, but the stuff that California and other states are doing that you apparently think is just giving people a quote unquote nicer place to die is an attempt at regulating a problem that your type of tactics have failed for multiple decades to solve. Like,
surprise, surprise, if you shame a homeless person or a drug addict for being homeless or a drug addict, it makes them feel bad, and then they do something drastic to take their mind off of it.
And once they sever all connections with like people who care about them, they have nothing but heroin. And also, like Dr. Drew, are you aware that we have been addicted to opiates for over 100 years now? Like, we used to have morphine problems, and then we created heroin to get off of morphine, and then it just kept spiraling off. Like, and to act like all homeless people are drug addicts. And let me be clear, I'm not saying that there aren't a lot of drug addict homeless people. That's not what I'm saying. But to write it all off as if that is what that existence is, and to say things like, I dare you to find that single homeless mother. Like these, like, have you never heard of these things called women's shelters, Dr. Drew? Like, did you know that some of the people who stay in women's shelters are homeless women? And you can't be on drugs in those shelters. Like, that's a thing. You can't go to a homeless shelter if you're on drugs.
Yeah. They don't let you.
Yeah. So, like, clearly, and some homeless shelters fill up. And like, so that's like a huge thing.
Yeah, they like overpaid. Like that was a big problem in Tulsa for a while.
Yeah.
That, like there was no space in any of the homeless shelters, and it was starting to get real hot.
And like sometimes if you're a homeless family, you can't stay in the same shelters together because sometimes they're segregated like that.
Mm-hmm.
So like it is mind-blowing to hear you talk this way about the problem, Dr. Drew. Just like absolutely stunningly awful. Like I'm flabbergasted by how incredibly ignorant you are. And I'm not trying to downplay homelessness and drug problems. I'm trying to say that you are painting an entire, like, diverse group of people with the most uncharitable paintbrush possible, and it's disgusting. Whew. All right. Wow. Well, that was the world's slowest roller coaster ride. My God. That's a good way to put it. At the end of the day, it just feels like these are people who like to hear themselves talk.
Yeah.
Like that's, I don't like, I get it. Like I'm on a podcast right now, although I actually hate the sound of my own voice, although I'm getting used to it from the editing process. But like we spent all this time on nothing. And then they just share these horrible opinions on one serious topic at the very end. Like, wow. Just wow. Oh, you got anything else to say, Gatto?
Nick Simmons is a hack plagiarist.
Yeah. Now that I've seen this, I don't feel bad reminding you exactly what Gatto just said.
Nick Simmons is a plagiarist.
Yep. Nick Simmons is someone who's never done anything.
Like his dad's can be a bit of an overbearing asshole, but you know how he became an asshole? Because he had lots of money, because he was in a band that was really, really good for a time. Mm-hmm. And then it was so good that when the band started being a lot less good, if we're being honest with ourselves, at least they had the good years to coast off of.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, very common band to be favorites of like some of the kids I work with.
Yeah, Kiss. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, no, they like Kiss a lot. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening or watching. If you watch it, that means you were unfortunate enough to have to watch those terribly bland and dark clips they apparently play on your mom's house.
It's so funny to just mock people with no context.
Yeah, no. And like here we're mocking people with a lot of context. We watched that entire fucking thing.
Yeah, and I know all too much about Nick Simmons from watching Family Jewels with my mom back in the day, and what Gene divulges in his book, which admittedly isn't much because he was like 10 when that book came out.
Yeah. So in conclusion, thank you for listening or watching. Please, if you're listening on Spotify, please follow me. And if you're listening or watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Maybe hit that notification bell. Maybe make some comments or share. Those things all help me out. If you want to contact my show, you can email me at rubenuncut@gmail.com. So in closing, have a wonderful whatever, and fuck you, Dr. Drew. All right. You have a goodbye you want to say there, Gatto?
Bye, everybody. Nick Simmons is a plagiarist.
Yep.